Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 21st December 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 6 topics which are very much relevant from our UPSC. So as you all know, we changed our pattern of Hindu analysis. First, we are going to discuss editorials and later on we are going to see some important topics which are read in today's Hindu newspaper. The first 4 topics are I selected from editorials. So first one here is regarding booster dose. Okay. So amid vaccine booster talk, context matters a lot. So this article mainly talking about this booster dose. Already you know about what is this booster dose, right? So here why we need to go for this booster dose? Because at present one new variant of coronavirus, that is Omicron, which is mainly leading to increase in number of cases in more than 90 countries. Then what happened here? So already some countries they started booster dose, but some countries they are mainly thinking about whether they need to go for this booster dose or not, like India. And some countries they do not have proper vaccination even. Okay, so we can see there is vaccine inequity that can be seen across the world. So in this condition, whether when we want to move towards this booster dose, it is the right option or not. So that is the thing that mainly discussed in this article. We are going to discuss about that. So this article will be important from health point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper too. And next topic is about a strategic bulk walk. So yesterday in last article, we discussed about third dialogue, right, which is mainly conducted by India regarding Central Asia. So here this article mainly talking about role of India in Central Asia. So this topic is at most important from our international relations, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about sustained attack on federalism. So recently in last 4 months onwards, there are articles regarding federalism of highly in news. So if you are going to write this year means, so please focus on this federalism as well. So you can get a question in your GS paper 2 for sure regarding this federalism. There will be one question. So even you can also get an essay regarding this federalism as well. So please be prepared with this federalism topic. So this article is regarding polity, and here we are going to talk about especially regarding this fiscal federalism. And next topic is about what raising inequality means. So throughout the world we are seeing raising inequality. So we are going to understand a broader view of what is this inequality. Now next let us see the next topic that we are going to discuss about this electoral rolls with Aadhaar. So Lok Sabha passes bill to link electoral rolls with Aadhaar. So here we need to know about what are the provisions of that bill and why we need to link Aadhaar with electoral rolls, and we are also going to see some issues as well. So this will be important from polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about BIMSTEC working on joint disaster relief plans. So here this article is mainly focusing on this BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC recently came with one joint disaster relief plan. We are going to discuss about that, and we need to know about some facts regarding this BIMSTEC as well. So this will be important from international relation, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So this is an overview of topics that we are going to have discussion now. So now let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see the first topic. Title says amid vaccine booster talks, context matters a lot. Okay. So here this article which is mainly focusing on this booster dose. So if you read this central theme of this article, you will be getting idea like, so what is written in this article? Because these are the articles which are mainly written by experts. So experts view is very, very important. Whenever we are writing any mains answer, when we want to give advantages and as well as disadvantages or any way forward, we are not much experts to give suggestions. So if you are reading this type of editorials, then that will give you an idea regarding some points regarding this, what is this, why it is happening. Some editorials talks about advantages, some editorials talks about what are the concerns, some editorials talks about way forward, some editorials talks about history. So in this way editorials will be very helpful to gain information, especially for your mains. So if you see central theme of this article, which mainly says that while discussions are essential, So regarding this booster talks, discussions are essential. India should decide its COVID-19 booster dose policy based on local evidence and as well as data. So when we want to move towards this booster dose means this is the one extra dose of vaccine that will be given after taking 2 doses of this COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, so booster dose is nothing but the same vaccine you will be taken as a third dose. So whenever we need to move towards this booster dose policy, we need a proper discussions regarding whether it is essential or not, whether it is working or not. So how far it is effectiveness, which is mainly shown after taking this booster dose. So based on this, all this data and as well as some evidence, we need to focus on this, whether we need to go for this booster dose policy or not. And this article says that when you want to move towards this booster dose, it should be based on local evidence and as well as data it is necessary. Okay, so now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see why we need to talk about this booster dose now. So now there is a new variant of this coronavirus. Name here is Omicron, that is B.1.1.529. So here recently WHO designated this variant as variant of concern because of increasing of transmissibility. Okay, there are doubling of cases that is seen within 1.5 to 3 days according to recent report. And recent Hong Kong study said that. So here this Omicron it is having a less severity of the disease, and it does not need even supplementary oxygen as well when we are comparing with other variants of coronavirus like Delta variant or original SARS coronavirus. So if you're talking about why this Omicron, which is mainly said as a variant of concern by WHO because of increasing of transmissibility, and even this Omicron has ability to reinfect previously infected individuals and even infect vaccinated individuals better than other variant. So after even getting vaccinated by these 2 doses of this coronavirus, and they are also invulnerable to this new variant, that is Omicron. So why? Because there are number of mutations that are mainly seen in this Omicron, that is more than 50 variants, and especially more than 38 mutations are seen in just the spike protein. So this spike protein is very much responsible for entry of the virus into our body by attaching to this ACE2 receptor, right? So here, if you are talking about recent laboratory studies by using the samples of individuals who are vaccinated with the vaccines made on the different platforms like mRNA vaccines or inactivated vaccines, and in those people now neutralizing antibodies, they are 25 times much greater time less effective against this Omicron. Okay, so already if you took a vaccine, for example Covishield or we can say Covaxin, or if you take any other vaccine in other countries, then even though if you are having neutralizing antibodies in your blood, so these are 25% less effective against this Omicron variant. So this is the recent laboratory study result. And United Kingdom has reported that 2 doses of this Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, that is Covishield vaccine in India, that having very limited effectiveness for prevention of the symptomatic infection by this Omicron. Okay, and if you are comparing with this Covishield with mRNA vaccine, here effectiveness it is about 75% after taking this booster dose. And if you are talking about what is this booster shots or booster dose is nothing but we are going for strengthening of immune system against a particular pathogen. Exactly, we are giving that same vaccine, but this is the next dose of that original vaccine, such that it will be helpful especially for immunocompromised people. And what is the need? So if you are talking about need, so these boosters that will be particularly helpful for elderly and as well as especially immunocompromised people whose bodies they are unable to fight against this antigen. Okay, so this is about the need. So now let's come back and let us see in India. So in India for last 4 months onwards, there is a demand regarding this COVID-19 booster dose. Okay, so from last few months onwards, there is a demand for this COVID-19 booster dose. Actually, this booster dose which had been given and started in many other developed countries, and India now we are talking about this booster dose. And regarding this, there are debates which are happening. So recently government appointed an expert committee, okay, regarding reviewing of whether we need this booster dose in India or not. So the start of this booster dose in many countries at intervals as short as 3 months since the start of this COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, so in many developed countries they went for giving of this booster dose, that is like within 3 months. Okay, within 3 months of the starting of this COVID-19 vaccination. And one thing we need to remember here is, so whenever the countries which are going for this booster dose means we need to know about even vaccine production. So how many units of the vaccine that are produced here, and about population also we need to take concern. So if we are talking about India's population, India is the second most populous country in the world, and regarding this vaccine production, we have limited vaccine manufacturing in India. So because of that, even if you want to go for taking of giving of this 2 doses of this coronavirus vaccine, it is a very difficult. And how can we think about this booster dose? Okay, so this is the one cause of concern here. And even we can connect this topic, that is booster dose, with this convalescent plasma therapy. So what is this convalescent plasma therapy? So if you're talking about blood and its components, it is having a percentage of water and as well as blood components. So blood components include RBC, WBC, platelets, etc. And water level mainly includes the plasma. So what happens whenever any person who is infected by this coronavirus means, so his body immunity will be activated and his body will start produces antibodies against that antigen, right? So here these antibodies are present in the plasma, and we are collecting the plasma from infected person who already recovered from this COVID-19, and we are mainly taking that plasma and we are injecting that plasma into another person, such that whatever the antibodies which are present in that plasma, that will be helpful for fighting against this antigen in the newly infected COVID-19 patient, right? So here in this way, earlier during this COVID-19 period, convalescent plasma therapy, regarding this, what happened, there were many things like, so this is very much effective like that. But later on, after studies are done, so they found that this convalescent plasma therapy is not much effective. So here doctors, they are mainly avoiding this convalescent plasma therapy after many studies released their reports. So if you're talking about effectiveness of vaccines here, so we need to need some essential information, essential scrutiny as a standard part of our scientific process. Okay, and we need to know about the proper recognition of data from India regarding vaccines, how they are being used, and whether what about this manufacturing, so whether we are having excess amounts of this vaccines or not, like that. So we need to have a proper data. So data indicates that in general, higher levels of this neutralizing antibodies, they indicate the greater chances of protection from severe disease and infection. But there is no magic number above which we assure protection. Okay, that means after taking vaccine, so I will be, for example, I am taking vaccine. After taking vaccine, so my body will generate antibodies against that. So there is a data which is very much limited, that how many amount of this antibodies that is needed mainly to get protection. So we do not have a proper data regarding the what is the magical number of antibodies that need to produce in a body to get protection against this new variants. And this situation is further complicated by variants. So now Omicron, even though if I took 2 doses of the vaccine, so whatever the neutralizing antibodies that are present in my body, that they are not fighting against this new variants. So this is also one cause of concern. So if you're talking about what are these neutralizing antibodies, so these neutralizing antibodies, they are the antibodies which will be generated in our body, and they will be fighting against this virus after entering into this host cells, right? So actually regarding if you want to find how many number or how much amount of this neutralizing antibodies that needed to provide protection, it is, we don't know that. Okay, there is no proper assays as well. Assay, it is a procedure to find out the amount. So there is no proper methods of assay regarding finding of antibodies as well. So if you're talking about comparison, so when we are talking about booster dose here, so when we are offering this booster doses, that will have individual benefit here. Of course, when we are taking this booster dose, we will be having some individual benefits, especially for immunocompromised people and as well as against some different variants of this coronavirus. If you are talking about this global level, so vaccines mainly continue to be in a very short supply here. If you're talking about the supply of this COVID-19 vaccines, we are having a very limited supply of this coronavirus vaccines, because we are having a different programs like exporting of vaccines from India to other countries, and we are also exporting this vaccines to other countries under this Operation Maitri program. So what happened in this context? In this context, what will be there means whatever the vaccines which are required for even second dose, they are not available properly. And if you are talking about the booster dose, it is a very difficult to supply these vaccines. So the decision on these booster dose that we need to go for. So whatever the decision we want to go for this booster dose or not, that should be mainly determined by the evidence and as well as science. Science means if you are taking this booster dose, whether whatever the antibodies that we are going to generate, so whether they are effective against this virus or not, against this new variants of this coronavirus or not. And we need to know about these antibodies, how much long they will be active. Okay, and you need to also know about what is the effectiveness of this booster dose as well. Since every country needs vaccine and access is variable, global access to first 2 shots needed to be prioritized over booster for healthy adults. So rather than going for this booster dose, many times and many studies says that we need to first provide this 2 doses of this complete vaccination, because throughout the world we are seeing vaccine inequity is present. Okay, so we need to immediately consider booster dose only for immunocompromised people. Okay, and we should not be surprised by reports or reinfections, breakthrough infections or absence of antibodies after natural infection in even vaccination, particularly when commercial tests are used. So whenever we are going for test, we can also see that, so even after taking this 2 doses of vaccines, people they will be getting reinfected, and even we can see breakthrough infections, and even sometimes we can see absence of antibodies, and that thing we can see whenever we are going for this commercial test as well. So in this context of Omicron, India has an opportunity mainly to plan and implement testing, tracking, and that will enable an understanding of variant specific and as well as waning immunity with different vaccines. Okay, so this is about this thing. And if you see furthermore, so what can be done? So if you're talking about, especially in the case of India, so if you're talking about India, we need to go for a roadmap, and this roadmap need to include COVID-19 testing, and we need to focus on provisions of care, and we need to focus on financial protection, and we need to focus on enhanced science communication with general public as well. So in this way, we can assure, or we can focus on, or we need to follow or other COVID-19 appropriate behavior, COVID-19 appropriate protocols as well. Okay, and finally, if we want to move towards this booster goals, so we need to focus on the discussion. Discussions are very important, and whatever the discussion we are making, so we need to have a possible data, we need to rely on it. So this is a gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says a strategic bulwark. So this article mainly talking about recent Central Asia dialogue. Recent Central Asia dialogue. So this is a third Central Asia dialogue. So in yesterday's lecture, we already studied about this third Central Asia dialogue and what are the important facts and which areas they are focusing. So now let us have a detailed discussion on this topic. So now this article will be important from our international relations, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that India must redouble efforts towards Central Asia to counter great game rivalries. So great game rivalries means in Central Asia there is increasing of interference of many other countries like Russia, China, US, etc. So in this condition, India also can take this as an opportunity, and it can redouble efforts towards the Central Asia. That will help to mainly counter this great game rivalries. So this article, it is very much important. And now first we need to know about what is the context and what are the important details of this third Central Asian dialogue, and we need to focus on some other things like, so who are these great game rivalries and what are the options that are left with India. So in this way we are going to discuss this article in a 360 degrees angle. So first of all, let me know which are the countries part of Central Asia in comment box. Okay, so let me know countries which are part of the Central Asian Command Box. Okay, so if you see context, it mainly says that India has hosted third edition of this India Central Asia Dialogue. Okay, so India hosted this third edition of India Central Asia Dialogue in New Delhi. So what is this India Central Asia Dialogue? First of all, we need to know about that. So whenever you are seeing this type of terminology, you have to know about the meaning. So understanding the meaning, it is a basic requisite of any person who is reading anything, right? So if you are reading blindly, if you don't know, that means it is a waste of your time. So here, if you are talking about this India Central Asia Dialogue, it is a ministerial level dialogue that is between India and some other countries like Central Asian countries like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. So all the countries participating in this dialogue except Turkmenistan. Okay, Turkmenistan, which is not participated here. And Central Asian countries includes Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. And they are also the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is SCO. So let me know in comment box which are the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So don't forget about this. Already we discussed this topic number of times in our Hindu news analysis. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that the dialogue focuses on the number of issues. For example, they will focus on improving the connectivity and as well as stabilizing of this Afghanistan. So it is mainly focusing on improving of connectivity and as well as to stabilize Afghanistan. So if you're talking about important areas of focus on that, India Central Asian Dialogue here is first topic, it is based on Afghanistan. So if you're talking about Afghanistan, countries, they had agreed on a broad regional consensus on the issues which are related to Afghanistan. For example, regarding formation of truly representative and as well as inclusive government. So as of now, there is interim government which is present in Afghanistan. So this is under Taliban. So Afghanistan, it is under Taliban now. Taliban came up with this interim government. So this interim government, it is one of the cause of concern for many countries which are sharing boundary, because so this interim government, which is mainly formed by some members who are already listed in this United Nations terrorist list. Okay, terrorist list. And in Afghanistan, they are also talked about combating terrorism and even drug trafficking. And they also focused on central role of United Nations. Okay, and next one is providing some immediate humanitarian assistance. And even they focused on preserving the rights of women and as well as children, other national ethnic groups. So in this context, I want to say that there is one more article in page number 6 regarding this Afghanistan. So how women's rights are deprived regarding education, so and so. So you can read that topic. Actually, that is not much relevant. If you want to get knowledge, you can read that. So if you're talking about terrorism, it mainly says that so the countries condemn terrorism in all its forms and as well as its manifestations. They also called for early adoption of United Nations Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism as well. So regarding this terrorism, so all these countries, they mainly condemn this terrorism and they want to go for adoption of this United Nations Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. And if you're talking about a trade front, they mainly said that they need to increase the links like 4 C's, like commerce, capacity enhancement, connectivity and as well as contracts. And they also talked about Chabahar Port and this INST, that is International North-South Transport Corridor. So regarding this, we discussed in our yesterday's lecture. And next one is Republic Day participation. And these countries, they also confirmed that the participation of leaders of their respective countries at India's Republic Day celebrations as well. And they also talked about ITEC, that is Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Programs as well. Okay, they also appreciated regarding these programs and as well as they are very much helpful in capacity building and as well as human resource development, etc. Okay, so this is about this topic. And if you're talking about how there is increasing of rivalries in Central Asia, so we are going to discuss about that now. So what happened while strengthening of this India Central Asia ties here? So there are a number of rivalries that are mainly present here. So these rivalries, by using their traditional and as well as historical and cultural links, they are mainly increasing their influence in this Central Asian region. So if you're talking about Russia continued to be increasing of its influence in this Central Asian Republican governments here. And they also came up with this China Belt and Road Initiative, and as well as they also came up with the $100 billion trade with these countries, and even US has been seeking a foothold in this region, especially after Afghanistan. So from Afghanistan, US mainly removed its troops, right? So after that, it mainly increasing its presence in the Central Asian region, and even India's land connectivity to this Central Asian region is hampered by Pakistan, because Pakistan will give direct access to this Central Asian countries. We need to go to Chabahar port, and we need to go to Afghanistan and Central Asian countries through rail networks and as well as road networks. And next one is India has strengthened the ties with the other parts of Asia, and it must now focus on increasing of its efforts regarding the Central Asia as well. Okay, so this is about this topic, why India needs to increase or redouble its efforts, because so there are many threats of extremism as well as radicalization, terrorism that mainly pose from this area. So because of this, India should be the part of these countries, and it should redouble its efforts towards the Central Asia. So this is a gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us try to see next topic. It is about the sustained attack on federalism. So here you need to know about federalism. Actually, this article mainly talked about especially fiscal federalism. Fiscal federalism, it is regarding the money matters between the states and as well as center. So this article says that what are the steps that are mainly taken by union government that mainly undermine the principles of federalism. And this article especially talking about this fiscal federalism, and this topic is at most important from our economy point of view and even from our polity point of view. So if you are talking about federalism, first let us try to understand the concept of federalism. So this will be helpful even for your prelims. So in prelims, you can get a question like, so federalism, what is the meaning of what is appropriate meaning of federalism? And they will be giving you options A, B, C, D, and ask you to choose the correct option. So in this way also you can expect questions regarding this polity. So in 2021 there was question like Article 21. So what is like that? What is the exact definition, or what is the appropriate meaning of state? So like that you will be getting questions. So whenever you are seeing any keywords in polity, you need to know about the exact definition or what is that concept means. So this will be important from your prelims. So in this way, editorials are important to gain knowledge from your prelims and as well as from your mains point of view. So if you are talking about federalism, it is nothing but it is a system of government. Okay, it is a system of government. So in this system of government, power it is divided between center and as well as state. Okay, so we are having central and as well as state. There is a division of powers between central and state. So this system of government is called as federalism. Okay, so in this federalism we will be having two levels of government. For example, central is there and state government is there. So one government of entire country that is usually responsible for few subjects of common national interest. Okay, so according to this federalism, we will be having a Schedule 7 of Indian Constitution. So this Schedule 7, which mainly talks about three types of list: central list, state list, and as well as concurrent list. So the matters which are present in this or subjects which are present in this central list, so exclusive power that is present with the central government to make laws. And regarding state subjects, that is state government. And regarding concurrent, both central and as well as state, they will be having the power, right? So this is about the concept called as federalism. And now let us try to see what is this article talking about and what author want to say. So if we're talking about prior to this pandemic itself, there are many steps which are mainly taken by union government. Those steps which may undermine the principles of federalism, especially is talking about this fiscal federalism, that is talking about money matters between center and the state. So the manifesto, so what are the steps which are taken prior to the pandemic? So if we're talking about schemes, we are having two types of schemes: centrally sponsored scheme and as well as central sector scheme. So in this central sector scheme, 100% funding that will come from central government. And regarding this centrally sponsored scheme, so fund will be shared between center and as well as state. So in this centrally sponsored scheme, there is decreasing of share of the central government and there is increasing of share of state government. So this is the first important thing that we need to remember regarding this prior pandemic, what steps taken by the union government. And the terms of reference according to this 15th Finance Commission regarding imposition of demonetization without adequate consultation with the states. Okay, so and not only this demonetization, even central government came up with introduction of GST, and even it came up with outsourcing of statutory function of smart cities mission, and there is a delay and transfer of this GST compensation. So why there is GST compensation which may be delayed? During this COVID-19 pandemic time, there was abrupt imposition of lockdown. So because of this abrupt imposition of lockdown, most of the industries, factories and many companies, they had been shut down, and people, they are not able to cross their streets as well. So at that time there was no economic activity, and at the imposition of this GST in 2017, so central government came up with this GST Compensation Act here, and it started levying this compensation cess, and whatever the compensation cess which is mainly collected by the government, that is mainly given to states as compensation. But due to no economic activity, the amount which is collected under this compensation cess, which is very low, and it is not sufficient to compensate the states. So that time central came up with two options, like they can go for borrowing anywhere, like that. So there are some situations that the states are mainly faced some physical crunch or financial crunch here. So if we're talking about pandemic and federalism here, states, they were curtailed in aspects of relating to COVID-19 management. So even whenever the states, they are increasing the number of this COVID-19 cases during this pandemic time, so they are also increasing the spending of the state government, because they need to also focus on this COVID-19 management, and even they need to procure testing kits, vaccination, and they also came up with the use of this Disaster Management Act, etc. here. So ironically here, union ministers mainly used the health is a state subject argument to counter this criticism when the second wave caught this government unprepared. So what happened here, union governments mainly used this health as a state subject, and also here they argument to counter criticism that second wave mainly caught this government unprepared. So actually this health which mainly comes under this state subject. So here it is a responsibility of the state government to take some necessary precautions, mainly to control this transmission of this COVID-19. Already states are having financial crunch, right? So there are several other policies which are mainly initiated by union government in recent past that led to further weakening of the state's autonomy. So for example, some of the important laws includes farm laws. Those farm laws recently went for repealing of this farm laws, and as well as the Banking Resolution Amendment Act of 2020, and even government came with the Government National Capital Territory Amendment Act of 2021, and Indian Marine Fisheries Bill, and Draft Electricity Amendment Bill 2020, Dam Safety Bill 2019, National Education Policy of 2020, and Draft Blue Economy Policy. So these are some important laws that came up by the government, and that led to weakening of states autonomy. So apart from that, these coercive policies, they are coming on the top of this pandemic induced economic shock that led to further worsening of this fiscal situation of the states. And even government came with enlarging of non-divisible pool of taxes. So non-divisible pool of taxes means whatever the taxes they are collecting, they are not going to share with the states, okay, that will be retained by government. So that is central government, for example cess and as well as surcharges, etc. here. So even they came up with increasing of cess on the petrol, okay. So in this way here, the non-divisible pool of taxes had been increased by central government. And not only this, union government which repeatedly violated this compensation guarantee to the states under this GST regime. We discussed that, okay. And this GST compensation periods, which is mainly going to be expired in 2022, because it came up into existence in year 2017. That is, in 2017 government came up with this GST, and at that time it's mainly assured or promised that state will be given compensation for next 5 years, that is till 2022. So despite of multiple requests from the states, and the deadline had not been extended till now, okay. And even government came up with the decision to suspend this MP funds. So these MP funds are mainly regarding from development activities in those MPs areas here. So here, because of this suspension and as well as transfer of this MP funds to other areas, then that led to increase in the most critical situation for the states, and that led to increase in the borrowing of the states, that increased from 3% to 5%. And even whenever government says that implementation of this one nation one ration policy here, so and it need to focus on the ease of this doing business reforms, and as well as it need to go for some urban local body reforms as well. So these are very difficult to conduct by the states. So these are the some of the important concerns regarding this fiscal federalism. So what might be the possible solution? So now the first and important solution here is it is time for another state-centric committee like Rajmanar committee to study this union-state relations. So regarding this union-state relations, again we need to go for setting up of committee, and that need to look into these issues. And the states should, as recommended by this National Commission to review this working of the constitution, they also demanded for the creation of formal institutional framework, and this need to mandate facilitate consultation here. So here we need to have an institutional framework, and this institutional framework that need to facilitate consultation between union and as well as state here. Okay, and this one is state governments, they could also consider deploying of human resources. So we can go for deploying of human resources that will mainly helpful to support and assess to prepare responses to consultations which are mainly initiated by this union government, and it will be helpful for focusing on this freedom federalism angle as well. So this is just of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us try to see next topic is about inequality. So across the countries we are seeing there is a inequality regarding income and as well as wealth. So now let us try to see this topic, and if you see the central theme of this article, which mainly says that redistribution means redistribution measures have been ineffective, and there are no policies discouraging accumulation of income and as well as wealth. So for example, if there is some resources, so these resources can be redistributed equally to the people such that we cannot see any inequality. So whenever this redistribution which is happening not effective, means there is no proper redistribution, and on other side there is accumulation of wealth that is seen in these private players, means what happened that will lead to increasing the levels of inequality. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail, and others gave many dimensions regarding what is inequality, how inequality is accumulating, and what are the reasons behind rising of this inequality, and what might be the possible solutions. So if you are talking about inequality, so due to this COVID-19 pandemic which exposed a stark divide, there is a huge gap between rich and as well as poor. Okay, so rich and as well as poor, they will be having a large divide, and this mainly exposed because of this COVID-19 pandemic. So the share of income or wealth among top 10% of population against the bottom 50% of population. Okay, so there is a gap, like, so top 10% of population, they will be accumulating the wealth which is equal to top bottom 15% of this population. And if you're talking about regarding income, top 10% of this global population, they share about 52% of total income, and where the bottom half survives, they will be having just 8.5% of this income. Okay, so remaining 40% in the middle class, okay, 40% of this middle class, they will be having 40% of income. Okay, so here top 10%, they will be having 52% of income, and bottom half of the people, they will be having 8.5% of income, and remaining 40% of middle class people, they will be having 40% of income here. So here this top 10% are owning this 52% of income here. So here in this way we can understand there is a no proper redistribution of wealth. So this distribution which mainly shows that there is rising of middle class people. Okay, and the poor, the status of poor, it is very much worsening day by day. So if we are talking in terms of wealth, so until now we talked about in terms of income. So if we are talking about terms of wealth, the top 10% of global population, they will be having 76% of total wealth, and it is the bottom 50%, they will share 2% of wealth. Okay, so if we are talking about wealth, so top 10% of this global population, they are mainly having about 76% of wealth. So let me know who are the top most richest persons in the world. Okay, so let me know at least 5 members in the world, and at least 2 or 3 members from India. So you have to know that knowledge, right? So as an UPSC aspirant, you are expected to know that thing. So here let me know in comment box who are the top 5 most most richest person in the world, and at least 2 members from India. So the levels, if you're talking about the levels of inequality, so it is a moderate in Europe, and we can see sharp inequality in Africa. So from region wise also we can see there is a very much different. If you are talking about in Europe, it is moderate, and if you are talking about Africa, it is very much high. So top 10 percentage have an income share of 36% in Europe, and if you are talking about in Africa, it is 58. So in Europe it is moderate, that is 10% of top people they will be owning about 36% in Europe, and top 10% in Africa they will be owing about 58% of total income in West Asia and as well as North Africa. And the share of income among top 10% have been varying across regions as well. Okay, so it is not same or constant in if you are comparing with Asia, Africa, Europe, etc., but it is also differing with the continents as well. So the average income levels that seem to be, okay, the average income levels seem to be poor predictors of the level of inequality. So if you are talking about high income countries such as US, they are having high levels of inequality against countries such as Sweden, etc. We are having moderate levels of inequality there. So in US we can see high level of inequality than compared to that of in Sweden. So similar types of contradiction that mainly seen even in this middle income countries like Brazil, India, China, etc. here. So here after this post liberalization era, there is increasing of inequality. So emerging inequalities, it is not necessarily an outcome of rising levels of income, but even after this post liberalization era, so there is increasing of inequality that is mainly seen. So here there is a depiction of poor redistributive policies towards discouragement of accumulation of government, that is mainly seen. So what might be the reason for increasing of inequality? Because there is poor redistributive policies. That means, so here rich people are there and here they are poor people. So from rich we need to collect the money and we need to redistribute for this poor people. But this redistributive policies, it is a very poor, and even we can see there is accumulation of wealth that is seen with this private than compared to that of this government, right? So global inequity is being largely contributed by Southeast Asian, Latin American countries, even sub-Saharan Africa, West Asian as well as North Africa. So in these areas we can see a large level of this global inequality, and this pattern mainly confirmed based on ratio of average income of top 10% to bottom half. Okay, bottom half of the people. So if you're talking about rich nations and poor governments, so now even though government which is present here, so most of the times we are seeing privatization which is happening. So because of this entering of resource into the private hands, that will lead to accumulation. So whenever resources which are mainly compiling up or accumulating in this private hands, even though if there are no proper redistributive policies, means we cannot achieve our target of equality in the society. So what will be the impact? So whenever the resources which are entering or accumulating in the private hands, government will be having a very much limited capacity to act on inequality evasion measures here, and private interest, they mainly overshadow the redistributive fairness of growth. Okay, that means these private people, they are not interested mainly for the redistribution of the resources. So in this context, what is the way forward? So what is the way forward here is we need to go for reducing of disparities in capability domains. Like we need to focus on education, we need to focus on this different endowments like tangible and as well as intangible methods, and finally here we need to go for increasing of government share, and we need to come up with a proper redistributive policies, and we need to focus on how to decrease accumulation of wealth or resources or income. Okay, so this is about this topic. And now let us move on to next topic, that is Lok Sabha passes bill to link electoral rolls in Aadhaar. So this article mainly talking about linking of Aadhaar with this electoral rolls. So this article which is important from our polity point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And now let us have a discussion on this. So context says that amid some protest by this opposition members, Lok Sabha passed a bill, and this bill it is mainly talking about to link electoral roll data with Aadhaar ecosystem without any substantial discussion. Okay, they are mainly focusing on this electoral roll data. Okay, and they want to link this Aadhaar with this electoral roll data, and this bill passed in Lok Sabha. So if you're talking about some details regarding this, actually these details are not given in this today's newspaper. I collected from some other sources. So here, if you're talking about details, it mainly says that the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021. So this bill mainly seeks to amend the Representation of People's Act to bring some key reforms, including voluntary linkages to voter ID. So here, this bill mainly focuses on some amendments to this Representation of People's Act, and it is mainly focusing to bring some reforms. Some reforms like they need to go for voluntarily linking of this Aadhaar card with their voter ID. So if you are talking about some provisions of this bill, so first one is it will provide registration of new voters of 4 disqualifying dates in the place of existing January 1st of every year. Okay, so they are going for registration of this new voters on 4 qualifying days. Earlier it is mainly said that only on January 1st, but now there are mainly 4 qualifying dates according to this bill. So at present, anyone who is turning 18 on or before January 1st will be eligible to register as a voter. Okay, anyone who born after this January 1st will have to enlisted only after 1 year. So according to this bill, along with January 1st, there will be 3 other qualifying dates like April 1st, July 1st and October 1st in every year calendar, such that there is no need of waiting for 1 year to get this voter ID. So these amendments also will allow elections to become gender neutral or service voters. So the amendment will help to replace the word that is wife with the word spouse, making the status that is gender neutral status. At present, even army men wife is entitled to be enrolled as a service voter, but women officer's husband is not. So with wife being replaced by the term spouse, and this will change here. So there will be the neutral, gender neutrality that is mainly seen here. So these are some important provisions of this bill. And if you're talking about why we need this type of bill here, so if you're talking about why we need, because so this has been demand of our election commission since 2015 onwards, and our election commission also had launched this national electoral law purification and authentication program. So this will mainly link this Aadhaar with voter ID, such that we can go for removing of multiple enrollments in the name of one person. So in this way we can also address some malpractices issues as well. So this is gist of this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. And now let us try to see next topic. Before seeing this topic, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC, I will suggest you to join the courses of Rathod's IAS Academy. First one here is prelims test series, and second one here is mains answer writing course. So in this prelims test series, we are providing about 30 tests, and these 30 tests which are mainly focusing on both GS and as well as CSAT. In GS, we have sectional test, revision test, and as well as full length test. And here this prelims test series will be very much helpful to analyze the way you are preparing. So whether you are in a right way or not. So what about your analytical skills, whether you are lagging in revision, whether you do not have proper conceptual clarity. So you will be getting idea in your preparation. And next one is mains answer writing course. So here actually you know that prelims it is just qualifying paper. So you have to focus on this mains answer if you want to see your name in final list. So in this mains answer writing course, we are giving a very limited syllabus of 2 to 3 chapters every week, and based on that there will be daily answer writing practice. So here we are exclusively focusing on our GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and even we are focusing on essay and case studies. So essay and case studies practice will be there on every Sunday. Okay, so we also provide you model answers such that it will be helpful to gain some more points that you don't know regarding that so and so question. So there will be evaluation as well. So this course is exclusively very beneficial for the students who want to clear this UPSC. And here this mains answer writing course, it is a 1-year course, and the new batch it is going to start from this January 1st. So please join this January batch classes or January batch this mains answer writing course. That will be exclusively beneficial. And if you are joining early, that is for the first 100 students, there is a discount. Okay, so after that we can't provide discount. So please join or enroll this course before this January 1st. Okay, And next one is we also came up with this foundational course, entire foundational course for UPSC, and we'll be having more than 700 hours of this video lectures, and we are exclusively focusing on this concept clarity, because nowadays UPSC had changed its pattern of asking questions. It mainly moved from fact based towards conceptual based or analysis based. So to answer those questions, you need to have a clarity in your concepts. So without concept clarity, you can't clear this UPSC for sure. So here we are mainly focusing on this concept clarity, and each and every topic in your syllabus, it is covered here. This is the thing. And if you want to take some individual courses like economy, geography, ethics, international relations, environment and ecology, science and technology, you can take those individual courses as well. Okay, so details of this course are given in description box. You can see that once. And if you want to watch demo videos, please visit our website Rathod's IAS Academy. Then there you can see, or you can watch 3 demo videos. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay, and now let's come back and let us see this topic. It is about BIMSTEC working on joint disaster relief plans. Okay, here we need to focus on this BIMSTEC, and here we need to focus on this PNX 21. So it is about joint disaster relief plan. So this article will be important from our international relations and even disaster management as well. So if you see context, it mainly says that the COVID-19 pandemic had been a black swan event. So this COVID-19 pandemic, which has been a black swan event, that led to disruption of supply chains, and this COVID-19 which brought people back to drawing board. So this is the thing which mainly said by our Chief of Army Staff General, and he mainly gave the statement in inaugural event of this PNX 21. So this PNX 21, it is a disaster management exercise of multilateral grouping, that is BIMSTEC. So BIMSTEC stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. You need to know about this full form for sure. So if we're talking about details, it mainly says that PNX 21, therefore it is unique as it is for first time that an exercise of its magnitude involving multiple agencies. Okay, so this PNX 21, it is a multiple agencies, and it is one of important exercise regarding this disaster management. Okay, it is mainly focusing on humanitarian assistance and even disaster resilient mechanism as well. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this PNX 21, it is a humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise, and it will be participated by subject matters experts from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka and Thailand. So here it is a multi-agency exercise which mainly comprising of static display and as well as showcasing of this humanitarian assistance and even disaster relief equipment as well. So now let us try to see some facts regarding this BIMSTEC. So this BIMSTEC, it is a regional organization, and this BIMSTEC mainly contains 7 countries. So these member countries are very important because you can get a choose the correct answer type of questions in your prelims. So like members include India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Bangladesh. Okay, and the 2 countries from this South Asia, they includes Thailand and as well as Myanmar, right? And if you're talking about some important facts regarding this BIMSTEC, you can see this infographic. So here BIMSTEC mainly stands for this Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. There are 7 member countries like India, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Thailand, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Actually, this BIMSTEC was founded in year 1997 through Bangkok Declaration. You have to remember this Bangkok Declaration for sure. And if you're talking about importance of this BIMSTEC, which mainly accounts for 22% of world's population, and combined GDP of this BIMSTEC here is $2.7 trillion, and 1/4 of this world's traded goods, which mainly happens through this bay each year. And here six focus areas of this BIMSTEC mainly includes trade, technology, energy, transport, tourism and as well as fisheries. So these are some important facts that you need to remember regarding this BIMSTEC. So these are some articles which appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper and which are very much relevant from our UPSC point of view. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos, and don't forget to enroll to these courses. And I am expecting that many students, they are going to join this mains answer writing series which is going to be started in January January 1st, and we are going to continue our journey for next 1 year, and we will be in the contact, and regular one-to-one mentorship will be possible if you join these courses. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much.